This is a
A
relationship
lot of
business.
people say AI, real estate, broker. Is that
Let me tell you, one of the topics today, which I wasn't even in there because I was too busy networking. One of the topics in there was, reality show yes versus no. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of reality shows because I feel that it completely dilutes what it is that we do as professionals. When I tell people I'm a real estate broker and I get, oh my God, I'm a real estate agent too. And I'm like, okay, great. First of all, I think the barrier for entry probably needs to be leveled up because what we do is very important. We're dealing with people's finances, and especially at the level that I'm doing it, people need to trust you.
We're back at Confronting the Impossible. I have a very special guest here today, Rena Kliot of Pulse International Realty.
That was good.
And introduce yourself for us, please.
Okay, so I'm the founder of broker of Pulse International Realty, and we have brokerages here in New York and in South Florida. We have about 30 agents. I consider myself a boutique brokerage. I actually refer to us as a boutique bespoke brokerage, which we'll touch on. I've been doing this for over 20 years. We're a full service brokerage, but my approach is a little bit different, and my focus is more on developers and investors, me personally. But we do whatever you would expect a brokerage to do.
So developers and investors are not doing so well in the market right now, or are they? Tell me what you're seeing.
I'm actually seeing some movement now, and I'm hoping that things are going to get better. I would say the last 2 years were definitely challenging.
Tell me what areas.
Challenging in the real estate market in the last couple years.
Okay.
And things that, an election year, I've been doing this for over 20 years, so I've seen, let's say 5 election years, right, in the course of this time. People tend to sit on their hands. They need to know what's going to happen, who's going to be there, who's, where are things going to, and everything is in anticipation. And in anticipation, people don't want to really pull a trigger. So they sort of sit on their hands for a full year. Every election year tends to be a little bit of a holding pattern. And then once a decision is made, even if it's not the decision you necessarily wanted, depending on the individual.
So how do you transact?
The election years you barely do. It's after the decision is made. So it's after election day. And I have to tell you that from the moment that we had our election day and decisions were made, I saw people start to move. People were sitting on their hands, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, maybe I'll do this. I know I've been asking, I've been digging, I've been asking you to research for me, give me your opinion. You act as a consultant for the entire year, and then they go, okay, this is the person getting elected. I'm anticipating XYZ. So yeah, maybe I will consider pulling the trigger on this or that, or moving my money from this area to that area.
So sentiment has changed?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so give us an anecdote of where we were in the market and where we are now and what you're selling now.
Well, actually, so I have quite a bit on my plate right now. I'm seeking equity for a couple of very interesting projects.
Okay.
And that's something that I do for, as I was saying earlier, I work with developers and investors in, although we do everything that a full service brokerage would do, what I also do is seek equity for development, for development sites or...
Are you mezzanine? Are you preferred? Where you are in this capital stack?
Many times what happens is I'm bringing someone in an LP position, or I'm creating a joint venture.
Interesting. So I represent an LP in Boston right now that has lost an investment. We deal in distress, and I have to take them through that scenario, and it's not so fun because of cancellation of debt. I don't know if you know anything about cancellation of debt, but it's a problem right now because so how does cancellation debt work? You've invested $10 million and you didn't get your investment back. So at the end of the year, the fund manager sends you a cancellation of debt for $10 million because they couldn't get your $10 million back. And guess what? The IRS sends you a bill for $10 million. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Exactly. So we're working on the side of the investors that have cancellation of debt concerns. So how do you make that cancellation debt go away? Well, there's 2 ways. Legislatively, which is through law, which I was speaking about, which was HH 54088, which was passed by the House of Representatives, but is in the state Senate, has not yet been passed, where invariably what they would vote to do is to cancel the debt on the IRS level as well. But so far, that has not passed. So far, that is not the law. So people have to go and
What would that do for you in your business?
So forward contracts is the way to cure that cancellation of debt.
Okay.
What is a forward contract? It basically says, hey, I'm going to buy, 100,000 bucket of eggs tomorrow. I'm going to commit today, but there's no money coming out. There's no money coming out of my pocket today. But because I've committed that, it creates a new debt. And that debt that's created is equivalent than the debt that the IRS gave me. So now I take that $10 million debt
Right.
and I go buy losses with it.
Okay.
And I can go expense it later. So that's what I'm dealing with. But you're dealing with something different.
No, I'm on the front end of that. I'm on the front end of that before it hopefully doesn't fail. And
Well-
where hopefully they don't have to bring you in. However, it happens. It happens. I mean, in many cases, when I'm being asked to raise funds and not necessarily in indirect correlation with what I'm looking for now, it's because there is an investor that initially came in and was only looking to maybe land bank and said, okay, I'm going to be there to help you. This is usually done in groups. It's usually not one developer that has deep pockets. He's finding people that are going to do this with him, right?
Right.
So someone comes in and says, sure, I'll give you the 10, we're going to use 10 million as the number, 10 million so that you can go ahead and, get this off the ground, get it rolling, get your entitlements, do what you need to do. But then I'm exiting. I want an exit. So then you bring in somebody like me and go, Rena, I need you to raise 5, 10, 15 million for me because this guy's got to leave. We'll bring somebody else in, but I'm going to stay in and keep developing it. I've already put the work in. So that's another way of getting someone out that they weren't there anyway. They're getting a return. Maybe they put in 8 and they're getting back 10. Maybe that was their promise. Maybe the return was their exit is offering them, X.
Do you have a deal to share with us where you were successful of putting in an LP or an equity investor?
Actually, so it's funny. One of the opportunities that I'm working on now. So what I'm very proud of is that I have never done just one deal with any particular client. I do generational. I do multiple transactions for the same client, which means they're coming back to me over and over again, or they're referring people to me. Everything for me is word of mouth. Even in this extremely technological age where I'm probably not doing as much as I should do from a marketing standpoint, although I try and I think I am. Thanks. It's a lot of word of mouth. It's people that have had good experiences with me and that are referring people to do it. And so actually one of the transactions I'm working on now, I created.
Can you tell us the price of the transaction?
There is, funny enough, I need to raise 10 million for that. We've been using that as the number. That's just going to be the number. It's like, oh, well, there you go. Crystal ball. Yeah, I actually have to raise 10 million for this one, 5 million for another, which is in Panama, which is something else we'll talk about. So I actually created a JV for this gentleman. I sold him a project and then created a JV for him to build that multifamily. Made another introduction for him, sold him 2 warehouses. And this is not all in the same time. It was over the span of time. Sold him a project for him to do a multifamily, created a joint venture for him with a partner so that he could develop it. That's great. Then I was selling a couple of warehouses in assemblage on North Miami Avenue. Bought that with that same partner that I had put him together with. So I'm like, this is great. It's just growing, right? And now we're actually going to be working on that. And now this is another project where he brought me in and he's asking me to either sell it or raise the capital for him. In the meantime, he also introduced me to a family member of his. I sold her warehouse. That was Florida. I sold her warehouse here in New York. Actually got involved with her now on an eco-friendly marketplace, sustainable platform. So I love that my entire world becomes intertwined. No day is the same. There's this constant flow of relationship building, and one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another.
So connection is important.
The connections are very important. This is a relationship business.
A lot of people say AI, real estate, broker. Is that?
Let me tell you, one of the topics today, which I wasn't even in there because I was too busy networking. One of the topics in there was, reality show yes versus no. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of reality shows because I feel that it completely dilutes what it is that we do as professionals. When I tell people I'm a real estate broker and I get, oh my God, I'm a real estate agent too. And I'm like, okay, great. First of all, I think the barrier for entry probably needs to be leveled up because what we do is very important. We're dealing with people's finances, and especially at the level that I'm doing it, people need to trust you. So it is a relationship business, and you need to know what the hell you're talking about because they're trusting you with a lot of money. They're trusting you with whether it's in this case, let's say an exit of a partner, or if it's, or if it's to acquire something and you're negotiating I've had, oh my gosh, I had a situation. I had a client that was referred to me from New York to Florida. They wanted to build a school, or to start a school system there that was similar to Avenue here. And it's actually a very successful school for young children, teaches them Russian, Mandarin, emotional intelligence, yoga, sustainability. Amazing, right? Amazing. So they had this incredible concept. Rena, we need you to find us where we're going to have our campus. Where's our school going to be? So I'm mentioning this because of trust and relationships. There was a building that I wanted for them. It was under contract. I contacted the owner of the owner of the building, the seller, and I said, don't want to say his name. I said, I have someone perfect for this. He goes, Rena, I'm already negotiating a contract. I'm like, no, forget that contract. You got to take my people. This is a school. I need it to be here, blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay. We did the contract. They canceled the contract. Egg on my face. I'm like, he's never going to speak with me again. I made him just release another sure thing to take my people that are now backing out. This happened 3 times. We went into contract, out of contract, into contract, out of contract. And every time, my kishkas, were like this. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to kill this relationship? But when you're genuine and you're real and you've been doing things for so long, people are somehow very patient. And I'm like, and I ended up getting them the building. And the seller and I still speak and still have a good relationship. I thought that was going to be dead in the water.
So so that was an amazing story. So the way you confront the impossible is patience, resilience, and communication.
I think you have to have tenacity. You have to have tenacity and perseverance in this company. You have to have grit in this industry. You need to know people and build on those relationships. I like using the off-market niche, whether I'm seeking something. Like I was saying before, that I'm a bespoke brokerage because I curate opportunities. So if I have, my relationships with large scale developers, and they say, I want this area, and then it'll look like I'm doing a bunch of residential sales, which it was even your assumption, is it residential? I'm like, no. When I do residential, before you know it, I have got a square block. They're now putting a building. I made that happen. That it takes a lot.
Thank you so much for being on our show, Rena. I appreciate you. You have an exciting story, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.